Greensburg Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. I would ask that any of you that have electronic devices, please silence them at this time and to stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, would you call the roll, please?
Roy.
Present.
Steve Raymer. Present. Steve Hamilton.
Present.
Richard. Here. Christian.
Present.
Okay, in your folders, you'll find the minutes from our last meeting, which is the October 2018 meeting. Does anybody notice any corrections that need to be made or additions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion that we approve the minutes from the October 2018 meeting.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the October 2018 meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it will stand approved. Moving on to new business, we're going to change the order here just a little bit, and we're going to move Leslie Thackery and Gilland-Howe Funeral Home, 110 East North Street, sign variance. We're going to make them first.
Okay, we'll get back to the Greensburg and North game.
Yep.
Guys, what I'm here proposing is just that.
Excuse me, Leslie, state your name for the record
Oh.
for us, please.
My name is Leslie Thackery.
I'm Carrie Scudder.
No problem. So I'm just here, we have a sign issue, our letters are peeling off of it. A few years ago, we replaced that sign with the black one that you see, that's still there. And when we went in to get our permit, we realized that you guys might have changed some things, so now I need a variance. So that's what we're here for. If you have any questions in regards to the sign, Carrie's gonna be probably the best person to answer that.
Is your sign gonna be the same size?
It's very close in proximity. It actually is probably closer to what the old sign was, as far as, I don't know if you remember the white sign that we used to have up there. So this one is, what, 7 inches taller than the existing? We put it a little bit higher just because of, in case I plant any flowers underneath it, I didn't want the TV to be covered.
And this will be lighted with electronic messages.
Any other questions from board members about this?
I know the other sign that we had last month about, electronic sign. It was in that triangle, right? Is there a problem with this one in the triangle?
No.
No.
Yeah, it's not in the triangle.
Oh, right here. Oh, okay.
No, we're fine on that, on this one. Anybody from the audience here to speak on this petition? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion that we approve this variance.
I'd make a motion that we approve the variance.
Motion was made by Christian. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Steve Hamilton seconded. John, would you call the roll, please?
Roy.
Yes.
Steve Raymer. Yes. Steve Hamilton.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Christian.
Yes.
There you go, Leslie. It's been approved.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go Greensburg.
Thank you so much.
gonna go to Browns then on next? Okay, we'll go to Tobin's and Shawn Tobin is requesting a special exception.
Oh.
I didn't see you guys. Hi, Shawn. Tell us what you got planned.
Well, I was in front of you guys last year for a variance, so it was approved then, and they still have to come every year. And I'm just asking for a variance for one more year over there. We do some sales over there, and then we have Penske rental trucks. I've worked on trying to get Penske to come to town for a couple of years. Finally got that done about a month ago. And we are in the process of buying some land here in town out on Liberty Circle. So we're definitely going to be moving and building a new facility. We had to find something that was industrial. We have located that, and I know that stuff will be coming to the board here pretty soon. But we're going to ask for a variance for 1 year over there where we're at now.
Questions from board members?
I don't think he has to come every year.
Yes,
That's what you guys said. You
Yeah,
said
he
last
does.
year we had to come every year.
unless you give him a permanent exception.
Right, we didn't grant a permanent exception last year, we granted it for 1 year.
Just for 1 year, and then I have to come back and get it.
Yeah, I thought this was a request for a permanent variance.
This is a request for just 1 more year, I believe, right?
That's
Not the way I read it.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you,
Okay.
whether you make it a permitted,
All right,
or permanent, or just
1 more
1
year.
year.
How was it advertised, Kathy? How was it advertised?
I don't have any information. Thank you.
Might as well just do it for-
So the only thing you're gonna add then is Penske.
that is correct. Yes.
No auto sales.
We still do some stuff over there, auto sales wise. Mainly towing out of there. We do sell some ATs, golf cart stuff, but, so, I mean, it's just, it ain't, there's other businesses over there now, so parking is limited over there. We
Right.
just have like straight out in front of us now. Before I had the whole parking lot.
Yeah.
Now I just got straight out, so. All my campers, the one camper that's there now, belongs to a guy here in town. He's moving it sometime over the weekend. All my campers stay over on Liberty Circle where I'm at now, because there's just not big enough parking room for campers now. But like I said, you will see a golf cart over there. We move them every night. We can't leave them out. They'd be gone the next morning. But anything that we set out there, we move them to our storage facility in the nighttime.
Any other questions from board members? Anyone here from the audience? Kathy?
It was advertised as a permanent,
It was advertised as a permanent,
so
okay.
it's up to you whether you grant him 1 more year or.
Right. Okay, thank you. Anybody from the audience here to speak on this issue? Okay, hearing none from the audience or the board, I'd entertain a motion, we approve the, pardon me. We approve the special exception to allow the Penske trucks, and I would say we would do it for 1 year,
Yeah.
1 more year, especially since he's talking about moving anyway, we'll just do it for 1 year. So I entertain that motion.
I'd make a motion that we grant a temporary variance to Tobin.
All right, motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Christian, seconded by Steve Hamilton. John, would you call the roll, please?
Christian,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Steve Hamilton,
Yes.
Steve Raymer,
No.
Roy.
Yes. There you go, sir. And that brings us to Devon, Brown, Chris Stevens, True North Property Management LLC Special Exception.
Good evening, gentlemen. For the record, Chris Steven. I am an attorney at Steven Legal Group. I'm here representing True North Property management with regard to this request for a special exception. I have with me, if the board wishes to so inquire of them, Devon Brown, who is the proprietor of both True North Property Management as well as Change Fitness LLC, and John Thomason, who is the pastor of the One Hope Church, for which we are seeking this variance. To briefly summarize what we're asking for from the board tonight, this property is located at 1023 North Anderson Street, as you are all familiar with. That is currently zoned an I-1 light industrial, and has been as part of kind of the end cap of that long stretch that ends kind of with Cova up by the bypass and kind of works its way back. That's always been a little bit of a odd duck part of the zoning map, because it's a light industrial in the middle of a bunch of residential and business kind of area, but it made sense when the map was originally done. The building itself currently houses, or we would like it to house, the One Hope Church. It's basically two buildings separate or joined by one door that sits on three parcels. One side, one building would house the One Hope Church. The other building would house Change Fitness and a location where Mr. Brown can operate his business there here in Greensburg. The business would not necessarily be an issue, because it would be a lesser included use of an industrial, because it would just simply be a business. However, the ordinance does specifically prohibit a church in an industrial zoned area. We are asking for a variance to allow that church to operate there over the normal prohibition. The reasoning behind it, one is that it's a good space for the church. It has the ability for them to start where they're at, which is as a plant. They had another building here in town which they sold in order to be able to focus on growth, and it gives them an opportunity to grow in that space. Why it is beneficial to the city is because, one, there is a large residential area around that location that does not currently have a church within a relatively short walking distance. Additionally, if you look historically over that area, it does have a high crime rate. With the North Park has a lot of calls to it. Some of the residents around that area have a lot of calls to them. The city has property there, which has been, to my knowledge, vandalized in the past. And so there is some benefit to putting an organization that is important to community outreach, that can develop programs that may be able to assist in that, in the development of the community. I think we can all point to multiple instances where church organizations have been able to go into a community and help deter, help provide outreach, help the individuals within the community and raise up the standard of that community. Additionally, as I noted in our application, there is a legal enhancement to certain criminal activity that would allow the prosecutor's office to charge a higher level of crime if it is committed within a specific distance to a church. I spoke to our elected prosecutor, Nathan Harder, earlier this evening to ask his opinion with regard to this variance, and he agreed with me that in a high rate area it could have a potential deterrent to criminal activity, or give his office some additional firepower as they go about deciding how to proceed. So that's why I think it benefits the community. It certainly benefits my clients, and I think it is a good variance and a good opportunity to have an exception here. Additionally, so that the board, kind of anticipating what I think you're most likely going to ask, we have already met with Kathy Reynolds, as well as the or the fire department, the fire chief. They have provided us a report of various things that they would like to see addressed within the building in terms of egress, ingress, fire standards, those sorts of things. And Mr. Brown has already begun meeting with individuals to try to address those concerns and be sure that we are in compliance with what the city of Greensburg wants to have for buildings to be safe here and to meet all of those requirements. So what I'm asking for is what would standard be the 1 year temporary variance, understanding that before I were to ask for any permanent variance or any kind of continuation of this variance, it would certainly have within it some contingency of ensuring that the concerns of the planning department and the fire department are adequately addressed, and any concerns that you all may have are adequately addressed. So that is my spiel. I got to talk longer than anybody else, which is kind of what I like to do. But do you have any questions for me or for Mr. Brown or Mr. Thompson?
Yes. Which of these two buildings is going to be the church?
The larger of the two, which is closer to 4th Street.
Okay, is the church.
Yes.
When you talked about, you mentioned talking with fire and Kathy about taking care of some of the concerns that they had. In this church, I assume is planning to grow. Would there then be a method of having parking for additional members of the congregation?
Yes, with the size of the lot and the fact that there's parking on all 3 sides of the building, I think there is adequate parking for all of the anticipated parishioners. There's certainly more than enough adequate parking for the current church level, but in terms of growing, I think that will not be an issue.
Okay.
So, let me make sure I understand this. You're asking for a 1 year variance. And then you will have a plan together at the end of that year as to what your improvements are gonna be and how you're gonna go about doing it?
My intention would be to have them implemented before we requested a permanent variance. So generally speaking, how it works, generally speaking would be, we are here asking for the temporary variance, which is usually spans a year. Within that year, we would implement whatever is necessary to be able to come back 1 year hence and request a permanent variance and be able to demonstrate to you that we've met all of those requirements. Yes, sir.
Well, the way you're stating it sounds to me like you don't think that you have to bring it up to building zoning codes
No, I think we absolutely.
before you can even do anything occupying.
No, I think we've already spoken to the fire department with regards to
I know that.
to occupancy, and there are certain things that they've addressed that they would like to see done by November 30th to ensure that occupancy is.
Well, I'm concerned with like restroom facilities and handicap facilities, access and egress and everything like that.
Can I say something? We addressed those in my report, and what was indicated was, as long as they can get stuff done before 90 days, or have a plan of what they're planning to do within 90 days. So, and that was a part of it, handicap accessibility.
Yeah, well,
Because
and
they
I
have
don't,
to have an accessibility around to get in and throughout the building, and that includes even the restroom and around the building, like I said.
oh, that was my concern. I just didn't want to say, well, until you came back for a permit.
No, we would address those things currently, and that's part of what we've been working with Ms. Reynolds' department on, is ensuring that the immediate things are done immediately. The things that are more time consuming, such as a firewall, things like that, are being addressed within a reasonable period of time. And there's a timetable that she set forth in her report that Chief Garrett also addressed, and we're working to comply with that, and that would be our intention.
Well, normally before there's any occupancy, the NFPA 101, which is all the life safety for the fire systems, has to be complete. So that would be,
No, that's not necessary, because as long as they have a plan in place, as long as they have a plan to implement the life safety plan. And like I said, there's three main items that the fire department is, addressing. And, one is exiting, to have proper exiting, another is painting hardware on the doors. They already have some exit signs up, and there's another issue with things that's on the wall that is not fire rated. So, the things that needs to be addressed is number one, a fire alarm. Two, the accessibility, that's a big play. There's other things that needs to be addressed, but in order for them to continue, as long as they have a plan to implement it, that's the most important thing. Yes, we'd like to see it done sooner than later, but you have to give them that opportunity to make those changes. You can't let it happen overnight, because for one, they'll have to have an architect to design the fire, or not an architect, or a licensed professional to do the alarm system / or sprinkler system, and then that has to go through the state procedures and then back to us. And then after everything's implemented, myself along with the fire department, we have to go through, and I'm circling the state to come in, we work with the state closely, and they'll be happy to come in and walk through this as well. But it does not have to be implemented like tomorrow, or they can't occupy. It's something that, as long as they have a plan and willing to work with us, then yes, they can proceed.
so
We
when do they have to have your plan then? When
Within
does that,
90 days.
within the next 3 months, when something happens in between there?
Let's hope that it doesn't.
I know.
At least they'll have proper exiting. But then, you're supposed to, by the fire department's requirements, they want proper exiting by November 30th. And proper hardware on
Yeah,
the doors.
panic.
Mhm.
Panic points on.
Which we generally do have 2 points of egress that already have painting hardware attached to it. There was just simply an issue with regard to
Like
some
one
locking.
door, yeah, there's one door that had a locking system on it that's not required, and they're trying to change that out. As far as, steps, that was another thing, there wasn't adequate egress out the door.
And they're probably not lighted
Mr.
with
Steven-
emergency light.
Mr. Stevens, yes, there is emergency lighting.
There is
yes.
emergency lighting out there.
Mr. Steven had addressed that, Mr. Brown had tried to buy the proper steps, and they're on back order. So he has those ordered already, he's just waiting for them to come in. And they can do a temporary thing, they can build something temporary, as long as it's solid and sturdy,
As long as we meet your approval.
as long as
and
it's
the fire
fine at the
department.
fire department's approval, yes. And we had talked about some of those ways of doing things.
Well, I'm a little hesitant, but if our city engineer and our Greensburg Fire Department is okay, but, I think I can go on record saying that I don't like it, but, I don't see how we can keep it from happening. And, I mean, I have faith in the fire department and our city engineer.
And when I ask, I'm gonna also ask you if there's anybody else from the audience to speak on this in a minute, but just to let you know, my idea was that this would be, if we grant this approval, part of the motion would be that it would be contingent with approval by Kathy's office and the fire department before
Yeah.
anything can happen. So is there anybody here from the audience to speak on this petition? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion that we approve this, as I said, contingent on Kathy's and the fire department's approval for what they do.
Yeah, well, I'll make that motion. But and it'll be a temporary.
Right. Oh, yes, definitely. 1 year.
Just for 1 year.
Right.
John, do
Second.
you understand how we want that wrapped up? This has to
You will
be
approve it contingent on them
Kathy
coming,
and fire
what
department.
Kathy says has to be done within 90 days.
Well,
Has to
I
be
was
a
gonna say,
plan.
if I was to interpose, just because I did this for a little bit, what I would say is something to the effect of a motion to approve the 1-year temporary use variance requested contingent upon continued work and approval of the planning department and fire department with regard to a fire safety plan and appropriate regulations.
That's good.
Does that work?
And I like
That's what I was
Can I
trying to say.
add-
That's exactly what you were getting ready to say, right?
Kathy wants to.
Can we change it, tweak it just a little bit,
Sure.
according to appropriate fire and building codes?
Right. Okay.
They're hot.
There you go. She
We got it
me.
down. All right, so the motion's been made. I need a second,
I'll
please.
second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. John, would you call the roll?
Gresham,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Steve Hamilton,
Yes.
Steve Reamer,
No.
Roy,
Yes. There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Are there any other items? Kathy?
No, sir.
Nothing? Anything by board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion, we adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Done.